Warning, we are not your attorneys. Please, don't take anything we say as legal advice. I'm Geoff.
I'm Mike.
And I'm
Derrick Hostetler.
And you are listening to the Not So Grand Jury,
which is now sponsored by Morwa P. LLC. Geoff,
Yes.
take us away in what can only be described as, I'm confused why we did this at first, or why you came up with this
Sure.
with The Good Place, but I'm excited for it, and we're here now. Mike, did you watch The Good Place before, out of curiosity?
Yeah, I'd watched it all the way through before.
Okay, so all of us have had experience with this. Okay, that's good, because I was about to say, spoiler alert, but now it's just to our viewers. So Geoff,
Huge
take
spoiler
away
alert. And to Colleen, who's our editor, who has not seen it, but is apparently fine.
Apparently fine not seeing it, so we'll find out.
If you have not seen The Good Place, please, I beg you, pause this episode, go watch season 1, and come back and listen to our discussion. It's a quick watch and totally worth it. Now, assuming that you either have seen season 1 of The Good Place or you just hate fun and you don't care, Colleen, either way, let's proceed. The Good Place is a sitcom that follows Eleanor Shellstrop, Jason Mendoza, Chidi Anagonye, and Tahani Al-Jamil as they navigate the afterlife in The Good Place, overseen by Michael, played by Ted Danson. You might be wondering at this point, as Derrick did, what the hell are three lawyers on a legal podcast doing talking about a show that happens in the afterlife? Well, throughout the first season, and then subsequently in later seasons, but we're focusing on season 1, we learn that Eleanor and Jason are not supposed to be in The Good Place, and we get several glimpses into their lives before their unfortunate and, frankly, embarrassing deaths. Eleanor grew up with little to no support from her parents, worked at least one legally dubious company, and made a significant amount of money by exploiting her friend's likeness. Jason had the misfortune to grow up in Jacksonville, Florida, where he went to Leonard Skinner High School, attempted to create a number of dubious products, tried to make it as an amateur DJ, ran a 40-person dance team, and eventually died while trying to rob a restaurant with his friend Pillboi. In the season 1 finale, it's revealed that our four main characters are not actually in The Good Place. Instead, they are in the bad place, and we're carefully selected. We've already had the spoilers.
Mike was the only one that didn't say spoiler alert, so he had to say spoiler, because all three of us have to say spoiler alerts, or else it doesn't actually count.
Yes, they are in fact in the bad place, and were carefully selected by Michael, a bad place architect, to participate in an experiment to see if they could be tricked into torturing each other emotionally for eternity. So I mentioned in there that Eleanor worked for at least one, really several shady companies making supplements and things like that. And that raises some interesting issues. Derrick, would you like to discuss?
So the first one we're going to talk about is, as Geoff said, Eleanor's sort of shady medicine or supplement job. It's referenced in season 1, it's referenced in episode 1, episode 9, and episode 12. We can drop in all the clips right now of various things that Eleanor is talking to, presumably her boss, who I think is like the head sales guy. He's probably like the sales manager of the company.
Sure. The Michael Scott.
Who, by the way, I found out his name is Wallace, because that's what you find out when you go to the fan Wikipedia, basically. I don't know how you know his name is Wallace, other than that. Maybe
I'm sure it's on IMDb or something like that.
Well, it is, but that's the question. Is it in the credits, so that's how they know? Or I actually don't know how that works.
Somebody maybe got their hands on the script. Someone has the script for the pilot.
Right. Oh, yeah, the script for the pilot's out there. So, yeah, it's probably on there. But, so, yeah, we'll drop in the clips. I'll read a couple of them now, but we'll, drop them in.
So, we sell two products here, NasoPro and NasoPro Silver. We aim this at seniors. Now, you can't legally call it medicine because it doesn't technically work. And it is technically chalk. So, what you're going to want to do...
You need me to lie to old people and scare them into buying fake medicine. I get it, man. Which one's my desk?
So your job was to defraud the elderly. Sorry, the sick and elderly.
But I was very good at it. I was the top salesperson 5 years running.
Okay, but that's worse. I mean, you do get how that's worse, right?
Basically, Eleanor knows the job she's taking is you need to lie to old people and scare them into buying fake allergy medication. And another one of my favorite quotes is, well, we don't have proof that it doesn't cure Alzheimer's. Both great quotes. And
it is mostly chalk. So
it is mostly chalk, as the first quote would be. And Eleanor takes the job because, and we could drop in this clip.
So you've been temping for us for a year now, and we want to bring you aboard permanently. We think you'd be a great addition to the team.
Yeah, no. I'm good.
You're turning it down?
I just don't think I'm really one of you guys. You're all obsessed with this place, man. You love working here and talking about working here, and you all hang out like some kind of cult.
We hang out after work because we're friends.
I know. It's weird.
If this is how you really feel, I think I have to fire you.
Severance pay. Love it. Good looking out, boss. Peace. You need me to lie to old people and scare them into buying fake allergy medicine. I get it, man. Which one's my desk?
That one, over there. All you got to do is hit your minimal sales target every week.
Cool. And you guys don't have any lame mandatory office hangouts, right?
Hell no. Some people go out for a drink after work, and I like to run the occasional group drill to see how fast we can shred evidence, but that's it. Most days, you'll be able to avoid even talking to another person here.
Perfect. Happy to be a part of the not team.
It'll be a pleasure not hanging out with you.
And she actually gets mad when they try to give her a birthday cake 2 weeks into her working there, which also goes very interestingly.
Right. Well, we don't have proof that it doesn't cure Alzheimer's.
Eleanor, we've got a surprise for you.
Yeah, thanks, but I brought my own cake.
Oh, I know you've only worked here a few weeks, but we have this little office tradition where we all pitch in and then we...
Yeah, no, I get it. It's just, I know what kind of cake I like. Plus, it's Lisa's birthday next week, and if I let you give me a cake, that means I gotta pitch in to get Lisa a cake and sing to her and wear one of those dumb hats you all are wearing right now. No thanks. This way, I don't owe you anything, you don't owe me anything. Later. What were we talking about?
What is her deal? Why is she like this?
I don't know, but the meaner she is, the more it turns me on. Is that weird?
You're my boss.
Oh, say that to me again, but more disgusted with me, like I'm a worm.
So basically, on Earth, prior to her going to what we find out is the bad place masquerading as the good place, she knows she's working for a company that's fraudulently selling ineffective drugs to senior citizens. This may shock you. This is illegal. It's illegal civilly. It's illegal criminally. There is a lot of things that they are doing wrong, among other things. And it depends upon what's actually in the drugs. Although we do know it's mostly chalk, we don't know what the rest of it is. For all we know, it could be illegal products. It could be nothing. The various things that they could be found guilty of include defrauding the FDA, distributing controlled substances, wire fraud, common law fraud, money laundering, introduction of misbranded food into interstate commerce, introduction of adulterated dietary supplements in interstate commerce, and then various conspiracies to commit all of the above. And we know this because there are a lot of these litigations out there. The DOJ, apparently people think they can get away with selling stuff that isn't actually something that fixes an issue.
I feel like Alex Jones manages to come up in every one of our episodes in some way or another.
Well, he's selling supplements. Those are okay.
So there is the difference between drugs and supplements. The difference is that you can't directly lie about what's in it, right?
You can't push them as a COVID cure.
And you can't push them as a cure, like, especially if there is no FDA, approval, or if there's no type of science that indicates they do anything. If any of you look at your vitamin
immunity.
Well, if any of you look at, and I'm sure we all take them, whether it's supplements or vitamins or whatever, there is probably a note somewhere in the bottle that says not approved by the FDA, or we cannot guarantee that it fixes
not
this
approved
issue.
for the treatment of any illness.
Correct. One of those things. And what people get in trouble for is lying to the public and saying it does treat something when it actually doesn't. I'll give a couple good examples. a few years back. I think the case was brought in sort of the mid 2010, so maybe 2015, 2016. USP Labs faced a litigation after deceiving athletes by selling a pre-workout product that included a prohibited synthetic experimental stimulant called methylhexamine. I think I got that right. And did not list it on the label. Their products, which were called Jacked, Jack 3D, and Oxy Elite Pro, were basically associated with multiple positive anti-doping tests for athletes. It also found out that Oxy Elite Pro caused severe liver damage to the point where people had to undergo a liver transplant. That's a
Did it also only jack you up in 2 dimensions rather than 3 dimensions? Was that part of the fraudulent?
Well, it was jacked 3D, so maybe it was 3D. It's hard to know. But not shockingly, the DOJ got involved, and the USP Labs principals admitted they imported the stimulant from a chemical company in China, but then told the people that were getting the product that it was sourced from natural plant extracts when it was a clearly synthetic product. They also had the chemical company in China create fake certificates saying that the ingredient was natural. In fact, the indictment cites an email saying, LOL, stuff is complete 100% synthetic. So
That's a bad fact.
They kind of had them dead to rights. They had the principals lying under oath during testimony involving a professional athlete who tested positive and was not able to compete in their sport for a while. In the end, they agreed to cease under a plea agreement. The companies had to pay about $10 million in fines. Former CEO got 5 years in prison. Former president got 2 years. VP received 3.5 years. Even a consultant and co-owner got a year. You are going to get years in prison if you are as a C-suite or otherwise pretty involved in the company. There's another one that involved a company called Enhanced Athlete who marketed their supplements for weight loss and included a something called dinotrophenol, also known as DNP, which is a toxic chemical that's not approved for human consumption. Spoiler, don't put something that's not approved for human consumption in your products. Not ideal. The CEO ended up getting 3 years in prison, and that's just in the United States. I think there was European stuff and a few other things. And then finally, the other one I found was another supplement fraud. Blackstone Labs was indicted in March 2019 for selling supplements that had numerous illegal ingredients, which is, again, always good. What's interesting in that case is they went 7 years to sell it before they actually got caught. Now, they may not have been selling that much, which is why they didn't get caught, but eventually the CEO got 4.5 years in prison, and it looks like there were over 10 other defendants that received various sentences. So again, a lot of the people are going to be caught for this, and these are just some examples. There's a lot of examples out there. So how would this work in the good place? Well, let's assume that Eleanor had lived long enough for the authorities to discover the fraud and brought down the operation. Presumably there's a few ways where the authorities discover these issues. The most obvious one is that customers are harmed, file complaints, or there's a death in the family and they find out that the death is caused by one of the products. This leads to them filing a complaint, which leads to an investigation. And the FBI, if anything, is very good at long-term investigations that bring down these companies. We do say, and it is true, that you are innocent until proven guilty. If the DOJ has spent years, and I say the DOJ, our current DOJ is an interesting state, but let's talk about sort of non-political based, prosecutions, because we could really get into what's happening in the Comey case and a few others right now as to the indict first, investigate later issue, which is a problem. Let's assume the DOJ has done a truly, proper investigation. There is a reason very few of these don't result in indictments and have ultimately result in plea agreements or guilty verdicts. It's because they have them dead to rights by the time they filed the indictment. If you look at any of these indictments, they are strong. And like, again, as I said before, they have the emails, they have the evidence already. Like, they barely have to do further evidence. They already have it. And so that's one of the ways they can find out. There also could be a whistleblower where someone in the company goes to the authorities and says, we're doing this, and tries to get ahead of it before, someone else at the company does. And there's sometimes you get anonymous tips, either from inside the company or from external the company. But either way, in most of these scenarios, and I'm curious if you guys have thoughts on this, this was just sort of my own thought, Eleanor's not the person they're going to go after.
No, unless she did something extraordinary, no.
Now, there is a slight distinction here in that she knows what she's selling is crap. Mm-hmm. A lot of times in these cases, the salespeople don't necessarily know. They're given a script. They're not told this product blows. Like, they are given a script to do the selling in their brain. They're doing a script that's completely truthful. They have no idea otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's a little different here because it seems like every salesperson there is lying. Still, I don't think that leads to a lot of anything. And here's what's interesting. Wallace, their supposed boss, who apparently sort of comes across as the sales manager, he's also probably not the main person they're going after. They're going after the CEO or the C-suites or whoever is really the ones raking in the money. I assume Wallace is not like the head guy. Maybe he is because this is such a weird operation, but I'm going to make a wild guess that he is not getting... Maybe he's getting some type of compensation because they're selling a lot, but I have a feeling that he's not calling the shots.
Yeah, he gives off strong middle management vibes. At a company like this, you're not going to have the head of the company directly overseeing the people making phone calls.
Strong mid-management office space vibes.
Yes. And
like, what would you say you'd do here? And so it's likely what would happen is the authorities flip and/or give immunity to someone like Eleanor. They probably get something from Wallace, probably relatively low. Maybe he does plead guilty, but they, small sentence. They go hard after the C-suite guys, and we'll go after them for fraud, various other things that I listed before. So, that's likely what would happen here. In what we see in season 1, at least, which is that I believe she's still working there when she's killed. As I understand the timeline, she's still actively working there. So obviously that would not have any impact she wouldn't, when you're dead, you can't have any implications, but presumably at some point they're going to get brought down and it's not going to go great for them. So yeah, that's that part about her. And then the next one that we had identified was an interesting one. Jason standing in for Acid Cat. Where, and we can drop in the clip. It's a relatively short clip where basically there's a semi-famous DJ-ish.
I guess, yeah.
A known DJ. He's a known commodity who doesn't want to go on stage. And he wants
to go to a party instead.
Right.
He's a dead mouse stand-in.
There we go. That's sort of a good description. So
that's literally he's wearing the dead mouse headgear.
Correct. So, which means that you can't, identify him.
What's up, man? You Jason? You got 2 minutes. Fred Durst is throwing an orgy on a partially capsized yacht. My dad just texted. It already started, so I'll get right to the point. I listened to your demo. You're terrible.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, you just don't have any, what's the word? Talent. But don't worry, you got something better than talent, man. You got my approximate size and weight. I'm supposed to play this club for the rest of the week, but I just got an offer to DJ Scott Disick's after party for the Amateur Porn Awards in Reno.
Whoa, congrats, bro, that's a dream.
It's your dream, man. It's my Tuesday. I just need somebody to fill in. Put on the helmet, press spacebar on the computer. Those idiots won't know the difference. For the next week, Jason, you are Acid Cat.
So he asks Jason to go on and impersonate him and basically says, the equipment does the work. Just look cool, dance around, do your thing. It'll be fine. Jason, who, as we all know... Now, we're also not sure. Does Jason get anything out of this? money or just the ability to
Well,
impersonate
he had a
Acid Cat?
contract, apparently.
Who's he?
I mean, apparently there was a contract. He said he was getting sued for breach of contract.
That's another
Okay.
quote we'll have to drop in.
That we're definitely gonna. I forgot that we're gonna drop in that quote.
Beautiful, beautiful Jacksonville. What's wrong, dog? You look like you're freaking out. Things are bad, Pillboi. Acid Cat is suing me for breach of contract. I should have never pretended to be someone else. It could cost me all my dreams in life.
Which then sort of leads to how. What contract did he sign?
Yeah.
And when? Like, was he about to go on stage in the place he was performing at, threw a contract in front of him and said, sign this?
I mean, it could be an oral contract that Acid Cat's lawyer is like, well, you came to an agreement. That's a contract.
Right.
Yeah.
He might have signed something off screen. We don't know.
That's possible.
Well, and that does make more sense that it is breach of contract, because I actually don't think he's liable in any type of criminal capacity for two reasons. One, he's not impersonating a type of public officer. Those normally have separate statutes. You can't impersonate a police officer.
Sure.
You can't impersonate a federal agent, things like that. So that, regardless of whether you are given any type of ability to do so, you can't do that. What's interesting about the Florida statute, and it's Florida statute section 81702, is about false impersonation. It's only if you get something for doing it from someone else and they're a victim of it. Obviously, there's victims here, but the person responsible is probably Acid Cat, not Jason, because they came to see Acid Cat.
Yep.
Acid Cat did not fulfill the contract by putting someone else in. That's probably, he's the one they go after for breach of contract, whatever it is. It's honestly probably not Jason, because he was given permission to do it.
Could you make an argument for, assuming these tickets were sold through, like, I don't know, the venue's website or Ticketmaster or something like that, make a case for wire fraud? If you're selling tickets to see Acid Cat and Acid Cat isn't there and it has conspired with Jason.
Yeah, it's always the trick that it's wire fraud, telephone fraud, and bank fraud at the same time.
Right.
Well, as I know, because here's the problem with wire fraud. It's got to be a scheme to defraud.
Sure.
When it happened, it wasn't a scheme to defraud.
That's fair.
Unless this was Acid Cat's plan all along.
When he sold the tickets, or when the venue.
So that's what I'm saying, Mike.
Yeah, but he might have been selling tickets up until the last minute.
Yeah, but he's not. Yeah, well, so it's interesting because we have a couple layers here, right?
I've definitely gone to an event where I bought the ticket like at the door.
Fair enough. And so, yeah, well, then that's not wire fraud anymore.
I've definitely gone to an event where I bought the ticket on my phone at the door.
Well, so here's the problem. Unless you bought the ticket a few minutes beforehand across state lines and then came into the venue, it can't be wire fraud. Now, that's not to say it's not fraud. Things like, generic garden variety fraud. Yes, it's possible for maybe a small amount of ticket holders. I was about to say season ticket holders. For ticket holders. And yes, Acid Cat is responsible for this because there was a material deception. So like they bought the tickets, and even if when he bought the tickets, they weren't planning to actually do that, there was a false statement, which is that he did not go on stage and tried to make it look like he did go on stage. It would have been one thing if they came out and said, guys, Acid Cat's isn't available. We're giving you whatever Jason's dumb DJ name is, and we can drop that clip in.
Sure.
Attention, Jacksonville. I'm not Acid Cat. I'm Mr. Music, the DJ. And this is a Mr. Music, the DJ original.
And if that's the case, that's a little different because that's straight up breach of contract. But then the question is, what did they get in return? Right?
Bleach of contract.
Bleach of contract. And that leads to an interesting question because I'll give an example on my end, which is a few years ago, I went to an Ed Sheeran concert in oh, what the hell? What is the Commander's Field currently? FedEx Field. So I went to Ed Sheeran at FedEx Field. Khalid was supposed to be the opening act. Got in a car accident, I think, the day before. So Ed Sheeran opened for Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran came out in a white T-shirt, played one of his new stuff, went back into backstage, put on a black T-shirt, and then played his actual concert.
Okay.
Interesting question. Would people have bought the tickets to see Khalid, and is that a breach of contract because they expected to see the opening act? And as I recall, he's on the ticket. I'm making that assumption. That might be wrong because I do know sometimes they don't put the opening acts on tickets. Is that a breach of contract? A breach of contract?
Yeah. I wonder if it didn't occur to me to like go get Ticketmaster fine print before this conversation.
No.
Because I could see there being a clause in the contract of, and, we may alter the lineup due to, various emergencies or
force majeure kind of clause.
Well, and again, this was an emergency. He got in a car accident. He couldn't be there. It wasn't like he just pulled out, whatever. And by the way, I had so much more fun watching Ed Sheeran open for Ed Sheeran. That was kind of entertaining. Sure. Ed Sheeran's, people were walking in an hour and a half before the concert set to start. And every time he had to make an announcement being like, this isn't the concert. I am opening for myself. Like, it was actually kind of funny that because like his concert, as if anyone's been to his concerts, he's got a band, he's got, a looper, he's got, a lot of stuff happening. His opening was just him on stage with a guitar and nothing else. So like, it was pretty obvious this wasn't the show.
Sure.
But it was kind of funny. I've never actually seen someone open for themselves before. So anyway, it just leads to a question of, what would have happened if like Ed Sheeran got into an accident? I assume they cancel the show and refund the tickets, right? Yeah. Or reschedule it or whatever. So what would have happened? Yeah,
instances where performers got sick or things like that and were forced to cancel events,
or even cancel the event the day of. There's examples of people just refusing to come out, or in some cases, maybe having a slight too much of cocaine or something else and not being able to come out, having band fights on stage and refusing to keep on. There are great stories all over the year. I'm assuming in each of those situations, refunds were made.
I would presume so.
And
probably the venue goes after them for...
Yeah.
Right. But what's interesting here is I don't think Jason's too responsible. Now, yes, there's probably a breach of contract in the sense that there could be an oral agreement between Acid Cat and Jason where he went on stage for him. That doesn't prevent all the other people from suing Acid Cat.
Sure.
But by the way, they're going to, as we've discussed on this podcast many a times, if someone's going to sue, they're going to bring in everyone and their mother and their grandfather and every person who is a contractor and try to get all the money, right? You don't just sue one person. You sue as all the people you know. They're going to sue him.
Yeah.
Especially when I believe he said his name.
That's true. Yeah.
So this was interesting because fun fact, most of our conversation revolves around breach of contract. And I didn't even research that part, so it's good. This is we're a professional podcast.
I mean,
I also forgot his bleach of contract, so I'm not sure what that means either. So anyway.
Hi, everyone.
Derrick Hofstetler, PI.
Here with a brief message. The Not So Grand Jury is sponsored by my law firm, Morwa PLLC. One of Morwa PLLC's many practice areas is business law. If you are a business owner or someone who is thinking of starting up a new or side business, you need a legal team who can efficiently provide you legal counsel, keeping you and your business away from potential legal issues, and if necessary, representing you in any disputes that do arise. We pride ourselves on being cost efficient while also getting to know our clients. If you want less stress and more support, you need more law. If you would like to set up a free consult, please click on the link in the show notes, visit our website, www.mooreatty.com, that's mooreatty.com, or email us at contact@mooreatty.com. And now, back to the show.
All right, Mike, it's your turn. You can now go to your piece of paper.
All right, so I'm covering 2 different episodes. In I think it's episode 7, we have a flashback to Eleanor's time on Earth, and she wanted to borrow her friend's dress, her friend Matt, I think it was Madison's dress, Madison didn't want her to borrow it. Madison didn't seem like a very pleasant person. Eleanor ran in when Madison wasn't around, put on the dress, immediately ripped it, put it back, pretended like she did nothing. Madison comes in, terribly upset that her dress is ripped. Discovers that her dress is ripped. And Eleanor, I think, blames it on the dry cleaners, causing Madison to sue the dry cleaners.
Okay, to understand this, you have to know about my roommate, Madison. She was terrible. Hey, Mads. I have to go to this stupid work party tonight. Can I borrow your peach dress?
Oh, it's a hard no, babe. That dress is like twice your salary. All right, I gotta go to the DMV and pick up my vanity plates. Ciao, bitches.
Well, that's not great.
Eleanor and her other friend.
I think Madison's mom is a lawyer. Am I?
Yeah, something like
right?
that.
Yeah.
Well, and she sues for the amount of the dress. She sues for the amount of the dress plus some insane number for punitive damages, which we can drop in.
But I assume you confessed and paid to fix it.
Not exactly.
Hey, losers, I'm going out. Can you sit me?
Dude, that dress is hella ripped.
What? Oh, that stupid dry cleaner!
Well, that's the risk you take when you keep your clothes clean.
My mom's a lawyer. Those asswipes are gonna pay.
She sued for $900 for the dress and $80 million in emotional distress. The legal fees drove the dry cleaner out of business.
Oh, boy.
Then Madison gets a little internet famous. Her friends think it's funny. They then start selling a shirt with her face, her likeness on it, called Dress Bitch.
Wait. This story's about T-shirts. There's more, isn't there?
A little. Check this out. Somebody put the dry cleaner story online and it went viral. Madison's famous.
The dress bitch? Yikes.
Serves her right. Madison is psycho. She totally overreacted. This is her fault.
Yeah, her fault. That works.
You guys, what is happening? Someone egged my Lexus, and I have like 40,000 tweets calling me the dress bitch over a loser dry cleaner man? Why is everyone so jealous of me? This is a trash city full of idiots.
The dress bitch is so catchy.
Yeah.
I mean, someone could totally make t-shirts.
Oh.
No. Do not tell me that you made T-shirts that said that and then sold them for a profit?
I wish I could tell you that, bud. I really do.
Girl, check it out. They're here.
Wait a second. Is this insane? I mean, should we be doing this?
Dude, Madison brought this on herself, okay? She's a nightmare of a person to everybody. Plus, we already have a ton of pre-orders. Here is your first cut of the profits.
Holy mama.
One funny note, and this is, we can put this clip in the show notes. The fake news website is shockingly detailed if you want to zoom in, and it's just like random little jokes hidden throughout that. But then her likeness is put on the dress bitch shirts. So who's getting sued there? Who's at fault? Madison, despite a ridiculous lawsuit for punitive damages, like, it's not her fault that she thinks the dry cleaners wronged her clothes. They probably actually have some clause in there, or they should at least have some clause in their business that, like, it's not their fault if the clothes is destroyed in the process of washing it. But the person at fault is, of course, Eleanor, who, you know, the dry cleaners could probably sue for defamation.
I am loving the website, by the way. Tom Hiddleston ate a 3-bean salad and it's nothing.
It's very good.
Which just the 10 of us characters aren't you.
I like the first one. 11 bicycles that look like 8 cats.
Yeah. Eleanor's probably at fault for defamation. Really, everybody could sue Eleanor for this because she didn't steal the dress, but she, you know, trespassed the dress. It was conversion, I guess, and then damaged it. So negligently damaged the property. I don't know if you guys have any other comments on.
Well, so here's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how this would work because I haven't thought of it, which is fun. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Mike. So she lies to her friend.
Mm-hmm.
Her friend just goes apeshit. Like, not just goes back to the, you know, she doesn't just go back to them and be like, hey, you ripped my dress, you owe me however much the dress is worth. I forget what they say.
Yep.
She then goes complete nonsensical and sues him for punitive damages, blah, 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 causing them to go out of causing them to go out of business, blah, blah, blah. Can we say that's all Eleanor's fault?
I don't think it's her fault for suing them under her best information at the time, even if it was a nonsense lawsuit. Unless there was a clause in there, I don't know, what would the action against her be?
Well, because that's the question. So, like, well, Madison would bring her in, at some point, right? Like, she'd bring her in and be like, why? She told me this, or she would say she has to indemnify me, like, whatever it is. She would be like, I was going off of information that my friend told me, which is a complete bald-faced lie. But would it be, because I'm sort of thinking of some of the reasonableness level, and I don't know if it's reasonableness or what it is. Is it reasonable for Eleanor to have thought that she would then go do that? You know, not just go back to the, like, I'm not saying it's a harmless prank, but like if she goes back to the dry cleaners and they end up paying her for the dress, you know, whatever. And then she finds out later that's a lie. The dry cleaner could theoretically go after both her, and then she brings in Eleanor and blah, blah, blah. But could she reasonably think that her crazy friend Maddie was going to sue them for punitive damages, put them out of business, blah, blah, blah? I think the answer is no.
Is it foreseeable? Sorry, are you saying, is it foreseeable from her action that from her lying?
Yeah. Is it almost foreseeable?
No, it's not foreseeable, but also like that doesn't mean that she's allowed to defame them.
Freaking bonkers right now. So Cannoli is making of course she's not talking now, but she is making an appearance on the podcast.
Yeah, whether or not it was foreseeable, she did defame them, and they suffered damages, fairly significant damages.
Right, and then so obviously, so Maddie defamed them.
Well, Eleanor defamed them to Madison, and then Madison turned around and defamed them herself, based on Eleanor's information.
So, can defamation be just 1-to-1?
I think so. I think it's
a false statement of fact to a third party.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the harm is the lawsuit and or whatever loss of business they had.
Right. So it's a false statement communicated to a third party, caused damage, and the defendant was at least negligent, which obviously she was. So, yep. So defamation or slander, whatever the California version of that is.
Sure.
So then I'm just trying to think who sues who and how does that work?
Sure. So
they originally they may not know who told who. And it's likely in the lawsuit, she doesn't say my friend Eleanor said X. They just put in as allegations.
Right.
You ripped my dress. Mm-hmm. You caused me emotional distress. So they, of course, then countersue her, theoretically, for defamation, slander, or whatever it is.
Presumably.
How does Eleanor who brings Eleanor in?
Probably Madison.
Once it's discovered, well, they would have to discover that she's the one that ripped it. How do they discover that?
Well,
we don't know if it ever comes out, so.
Let's say that never
Eleanor dies shortly afterwards. So.
Right.
Yeah. If Madison is countersued by the dry cleaner for defamation,
right,
based on information that she got from Eleanor, I presume that then she would turn around and say, well, Eleanor is a
well, here's the thing. She didn't get much information from Eleanor. Eleanor just pointed her in the right direction. We can sort of dissect that clip. The clip is they all make a similar statement, which is it's in the plastic. How could it not be the dry cleaner?
Sure.
Who would put the things back in the plastic?
Right.
Who would do that?
But also
someone in the bad place. That's
is there any reason why Maddie would have thought of Eleanor? I don't even think the idea that Eleanor said it would have even come into her brain.
That's possible. Yeah.
So I think Eleanor gets off of this scot-free. Also, she's dead. So there's
Totally. So unless we want to get into subsequent seasons, but
I was going to say in the season 1 timeline of events, Eleanor's dead.
Yeah.
In later seasons, this is a different conversation.
Right.
Yes.
A lot of these are different conversations.
Spoiler alert. For those of you who've only watched season 1 to listen to us, keep watching. It gets weird.
It gets real weird.
It's great, but it gets weird.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, it's a lot of this is theoretical, but yeah, it's a fun conversation. I led us astray. Keep going, Mike.
That's all right.
In season 1, episode 11, in another flashback, Jason and his best friend Pillboi come up with a plan to rob a Mexican restaurant. The scheme involves Pillboi posing as a safe repairman while Jason hides inside the safe, intending to, I guess, jump out and steal the day's cash.
With like a Mario-esque fake mustache on his face.
It's great Italian accent, just totally authentic Italian.
I don't know, B. What if it doesn't work?
Hey, we thought of everything except for an alibi and an escape route, but we'll figure it out as we go. You don't want to overthink these things.
I'm kind of freaking out here.
Pillboi, I got you. This plan is foolproof. And when it's over, we can finally have the lives we deserve.
DiGiorno. I am a safe installer, here to install the safe. So just point to where the guacamole money is, and I'll install the safe in the, how you say, a place.
Yeah, hi, we're being robbed.
Gee, they're onto us, man.
His hat's a golf ball, and he's got a terrible mustache.
We need to get married now. I do. For always and forever. I do.
So the plan was to pretend to install a safe with your friend hiding inside it. He pops out, steals the money from the restaurant, gets back in the safe, then you come in and uninstall it.
I refuse to discuss my Fifth Amendment rights until I concur with your attorney.
Sure. Look, we found your buddy's plans. We know he was the brains, and you were just an accomplice. If you get lucky, you might get probation.
Jason going to jail?
No, man. Jason's dead. He's suffocating in that safe. There are no air holes. Plus, he did a bunch of whippets while he was in there, which couldn't have helped.
At least he died doing what he loved. A bunch of whippets. Now he's never gonna get the life he truly deserved.
I think he got roughly what he deserved.
I don't know why they thought they could walk in and pretend to install the safe. Like they thought, like, regularly Mexican restaurants have safes installed. But whatever.
Can I just, that safe has to be worth more than whatever was in the register.
Yeah, they don't really ever touch on like how they got the safe. But in the meantime,
safe, by the way.
Yeah. In the meantime, Jason suffocates, unfortunately, in the safe. So what laws are being broken here? And it's like, well, they didn't actually get inside the restaurant, so they didn't fully they didn't fully rob it yet. So it's all inchoate crimes. So it's all in attempts. I'm not saying this is less than. I want to lay the groundwork here. I'm sure. In the past, I'm sure we've touched on murder before, and I always like the common law definition of murder because I just find it a little bit simpler to go through. So the Florida statute matches this relatively closely, where it's unlawful killing with malice aforethought. And the reason I say using that definition, just because you have to intend to kill somebody, it has to be unlawful for it to be murder. And most states use a version of that. In this case, well, Jason died, but no one tried to kill him. It wasn't intentional. But also there's a thing called felony murder, which gets you to the same point, where if you're doing an unusually dangerous crime, the state will elevate any deaths that happen as a result of it to murder. Florida has a similar statute. I'll go over the text of that in just a second. Among the crimes that can be elevated to murder in Florida, it's like drug trafficking, arson, sexual battery, robbery or home invasion, burglary. So this is some version of burglary or robbery is occurring here, or attempted to be occurring here. Is this felony murder? Because they didn't successfully burgle the place. They didn't successfully rob anyone, but they're trying. They didn't make it inside yet.
Yeah, I think this was during the course of the attempt of the crime.
You're correct.
Yeah,
yeah. And the text of the felony murder part in Florida is when all right, the unlawful killing of a human being when perpetrated with premeditated design to effect the death of the person killed or of a human being. That's the normal murder part. And then when committed by a person engaged in the perpetration of or the attempt to perpetrate any, and then it gives a list of other crimes that can elevate to felony murder. So it seems like Pillboi's going to go to jail for the rest of his life for felony murder, and or get the death penalty for felony murder.
So, okay, question.
Yep.
Okay, as I read the statute, the unlawful killing of a human being when perpetrated from a premeditated design to effect the death of a person. That's not correct, right? Because they weren't trying to kill somebody.
No, that's just the normal part.
And then the second part is the normal. I love this podcast. Normal murder.
Just normal murder.
Vanilla
every day, like we all do when we go home. Murder.
Normal garden variety murder. And then the second part is the unlawful killing of a human being when committed by a person engaged in the perpetration of. So we're talking about causation now.
Yeah. So usually, and I'm not as familiar with Florida law on this, usually, because you see these cases happen a surprising amount where, the police have a shootout, the police officer kills someone by accident, and the person who is trying to rob the store is charged with the murder there.
Right.
And like the causation is like, officer, I was just trying to rob the place. I didn't shoot anybody.
And to be clear, that doesn't work. That's not a valid defense.
No, it's not. Usually you hear about those cases losing. Again, I'm not a criminal attorney. I don't practice in Florida. My understanding is I think Pillboi would still probably be on the hook for murder.
Now, does he have what I'm going to refer to as the stupidity defense that Jason really thought what he had done was going to give him oxygen?
Pillboi doesn't have the money for the attorneys that might make that fly.
Pillboi's going to jail after the first interrogation. Pillboi has got to be in jail.
Yeah.
Immediately. Do we actually... We can cut this if we don't know the answer. Later seasons when they go back, Geoff, do we know where Pillboi is?
Yeah. Pillboi is doing his job, which is he is a Pillboi. He delivers medication to people in a retirement or either a retirement home or a hospice care facility.
So somehow they didn't get him?
Somehow, even though when Jason survives, he's arrested. Presumably they're both arrested. But then there's no felony murder because he survived.
Yeah.
Right.
This is all... Now we're getting into spoilers for season 3.
Well, right. And we may cut... I might probably cut this anyway. But so let me actually sort of... I'm going to circle back and sort of try to Colleen cut most of that. What I'm going to say is, based on future seasons, we're aware that Pillboi doesn't get caught. So somehow he gets away with it. Maybe it's because when they discovered Jason's dead, they were like, good, next. They were like, we'll investigate, but not really. This guy's a moron.
Maybe the Jacksonville prosecutors are as dim as Pillboi and Jason and just didn't think of felony murder or anything.
If you are a Jacksonville prosecutor, feel free to let us know. And you can let us know what you would have done in this case. Actually, any Florida prosecutor can contact us and tell us how you would have gone forward.
And I'm speaking within the conceit of the show where there's like a Leonard Skinner High School, that it's actually a bunch of boats all lashed together on dry land.
I don't think I've ever asked you where you were educated.
I went to Leonard Skinner High School in Northeast Jacksonville, which was really just a bunch of tugboats tied together.
Didn't you get seasick?
No, sorry. They were tied together in a junkyard. It wasn't a very good school.
Jacksonville is much maligned in the Good Place universe.
There are some fantastic quotes about Jacksonville that we can drop some of them in right now that I absolutely love.
You crashed your jet ski into a manatee?
Yeah, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. It happens a lot.
What did you do for a living?
I was an amateur DJ, specializing in EDM, electronic dance music. I was also an amateur hip-hop backup dancer, an amateur body spray inventor. I did pranks on Vine.
None of those are jobs. What did you do to make money?
Oh, I sold fake drugs to college kids.
Okay. Good.
Pillboi, let's talk big picture. You know, I love Jacksonville. J-Town. It's easily one of the top 10 swamp cities in northeastern Florida. But if we're gonna make it in the DJ game, we gotta get to Miami.
Yeah, Miami's expensive. We just don't got that Skrilla, B.
Good times.
So at the end of episode 8, the reason we're calling this the dress bitch incident, her friends are making a shirt making fun of her. She has a cause of action against her friends. She can sue them for right to publicity. And Arizona has a bunch of really fun cases about right to publicity, actually.
Yeah, because they plastered her. They made money off of her likeness. Yeah.
Yep. There's one case against the Harlem Globetrotters. There's
against the Harlem Globetrotters.
Or sorry, the Harlem Globetrotters are the plaintiffs in one case. There's another case in Pooley versus National Hole-in-One Association, where a professional golfer he won. I guess there must have been a promotion on the tournament to hit a hole-in-one, but he won $1 million by hitting a hole-in-one. Fast forward a few years later, a different golf competition was using that footage as promotion for their own $1 million hole-in-one thing, and he sued them. And the court laid out 4 factors for determining if he could sue. And it's like, did they use the plaintiff's identity, appropriation of name or likeness use of name, image, or likeness for commercial purpose without consent and resulting in injury. In this case, I feel like pretty clearly they hit all 4 factors. Yep. You know, they have her very identifiable face. They made money off of it. We never see her consent to it. And she was defamed by this, or she was not defamed. She was, they made her more famous by this.
Sure. Yeah. She was reviled by many as the dress bitch for her. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
Well, I'll say the other thing I want to bring up, because I had brought up to Mike the possibility of whether, because Pillboi had no plans to actually, kill someone or do anything too bad when they were trying to rob the Mexican restaurant, all that means is that it's probably not first-degree murder, but certainly second or third, because those are more generic. Those are, if someone is killed while you are in the process of doing one of the many things, it doesn't matter how they're killed, it's just as long as someone's killed. So that is probably why what we were talking before about, they can always get people for felony murder. That's why. It's just probably a second degree or third degree. It's not first degree because it's not premeditated, intentional, pre-planned.
So there is a distinction in Florida for second degree felony murder. And I forget what that was.
Well, I think you have it. I think second degree is when it's imminently dangerous. Third degree is when it's just an unlawful killing, which just happens to, all right, that's third degree. And then I think there's another one, which is basically like someone died.
Yeah.
Like there's various levels of it, but either way, it's various levels of felony murder. At least I'm looking at the thing you put in the document. So I assume that you're not lying. So yes.
Okay.
All right. I think it's your turn, Geoff.
I think it is. So now I'm going to get into the issue that really made me want to do this in the first place, which is emancipation of a minor. This comes up every now and then in popular culture, but we've actually, I feel like it comes up more in real life, where we had stories of like Macaulay Culkin was emancipated after his father mishandled the huge pile of money that Macaulay Culkin earned during the 90s from being in like every other movie. But there is, in many states, a mechanism for children under the age of 18 to be legally regarded as adults outside of their criminal sentencing context. We're not going to get into that, but where they can, enter into contracts for bank accounts, rent, any number of things. And we see in the show that Eleanor, on her 14th birthday, oh, hello, Cannoli.
Cannoli's made an appearance again. This time she's a little happier.
That's good. Eleanor, on her 14th birthday, gets both of her parents to sign a petition of emancipation that allows her to go out on her own.
Hey, Dad, just a warning. Mom's gonna be here in a second.
Your mother's coming? Oh, boy. Hide the silverware.
You mean the silverware you stole from Mom?
Yeah, she keeps trying to steal it back.
I drove here as fast as I could. You scored free WrestleMania tickets?
There are no tickets, Mom. I knew that was the only way I could get you here.
Burn.
Eleanor, just because your father and I are divorced does not mean you can disrespect me like this, okay? We are a family. Whose birthday is it?
Mine.
Are you serious? No way. It's a BS foul on Chapman.
And since you both forgot, again, which means you definitely didn't get me a present again, I got myself something. I just need you to sign it.
Emancipation papers? Honey! What does emancipation mean?
It means I'll be on my own. All my life, I've been taking care of myself and you guys. I worked 2 after-school jobs because you blew half my college fund bailing your boyfriend out of jail.
So irresponsible.
And you blew the other half trying to frame her boyfriend.
It was so stupid. He was already guilty, dumbass.
I've been on my own for a while now anyway. And after you sign these papers, it'll be official. I won't owe you anything, you won't owe me anything.
Well, if you want me to sign... Oh, that's a joint. Do you have a pen or a lighter?
You're a really interesting person, Eleanor. We should hang out sometime.
She has her reasons, seemingly justified. Her parents are not great, in not abusive in any like physical sense, but certainly not competent parents. Regardless, this raised the question for me: under what circumstances can a child petition for emancipation or become emancipated, and would Eleanor, in this case, have been able to? So, emancipation, it turns out, is an issue that varies pretty widely from state to state. I, as I've mentioned, live and practice in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Pennsylvania and New Jersey don't have any sort of statute for laying out specifically what a child has to demonstrate in order to become emancipated. There are a bunch of factors that the courts have decided they will consider, and I'll get to those later. But the focus here is Arizona. So I pulled up Arizona law. And for the record, emancipation, this is a quote from Bates v. Bates from 1970, an Arizona family court decision. Emancipation is a renunciation by a parent of the latter's legal duties, whereby he or she surrenders all his or her parental rights to the child or others. That is the basic definition of emancipation. In order to do that, in Arizona, this is governed by Arizona Revised Statutes Section 12-2451. And by the way, not an attorney in Arizona, just telling you what the statute says, not giving you any legal advice here on this podcast about popular culture. What are you doing if you're taking legal advice from us? So, the statute lays out a few requirements, 4 of them. First, the minor has to be at least 16 years of age. The minor has to be a resident of the state of Arizona. The minor has to be financially self-sufficient, and the minor acknowledges in writing that they understand the risks associated with becoming emancipated. Eleanor is a resident of the state. She seems to be financially self-sufficient. She says she's been working 2 after-school jobs, both to support her and, to some extent, it seems, her parents. So she ticks that box, and presumably she understands what's involved. However, she is not 16 years of age. she is 14. So she would not have been able to get emancipated under Arizona law. Interestingly, Arizona, having come from New Jersey and Pennsylvania, where there is no statute for this and it's all very fuzzy, Arizona just has the forms to petition for emancipation on their website, which is interesting. There's like a 6-page document that you basically fill in the blanks and explain how you justify that you can support yourself, and your parents have to sign essentially affidavits explaining why they agree to this. And you send it to the court, and you also then, once it's been filed and there's been notice to the parents, there with 90 days after that, there will be a hearing where the court will decide whether or not will hear evidence and then decide whether or not to grant the petition. So this wouldn't have gone down this way actually in Arizona because she's not 16. It's also interesting that she's been working 2 jobs. That would likely violate, to my knowledge, would violate federal employment law. But there are a couple of other instances in which someone can get emancipated even though without going through this petition process. One is marriage, and it may shock some people. It will be old news to others that many states in this country allow children to get married with the consent of their parents. In Arizona, you can get married with parental consent at 16, and under those circumstances, you would become emancipated automatically. Also, you can enroll in the military at 17, and at which point you become emancipated as well. So those are a couple of other ways to gain emancipation without petitioning the court for it. It just sort of goes along with being married or being in the military.
Does the good place bring up whether she actually went through it, or did she just sort of emancipate herself and go with it?
The show doesn't specify. The show, the parents sign the document, and then she is in an apartment with some moving boxes and her birthday cake that she bought for herself.
Yes.
One of the saddest scenes.
Yes.
The poor girl.
Yeah.
And I will say, Eleanor here is played by Avery Hayes, who also was 14 at the time and does an excellent job as young Eleanor.
Absolutely.
Really showing us how Eleanor came to belong in the bad place within the theology of the show, within the metaphysics of the show. It's unclear to me, and it's not specified at any point, I think, during the show, whether or not she had already rented the apartment before having her parents sign the documents, or rented an apartment immediately after that. One of the things that you have to do on the form in Arizona for petitioning for emancipation is document that you have independent living arrangements. So presumably she must have. If she went through the process of actually going to court, or if she was just like, now my parents think I'm done. and the rest, Eleanor, not so detail oriented, I feel.
No, I wouldn't think so. Like, weirdly can be when she gets her act together.
Oh, sure. When she gets her act together. Absolutely. But,
right. But not in her, not
when the script calls for it.
Well,
yes.
not in what we'll call her first life on Earth.
Yeah. And I mean, granted, she does have her stuff at this age together enough to go find the forms. We never actually see what her parents are signing in the episode. We only get the corner of a document that has the seal of Arizona on it. Because I was looking forward to seeing what I could make out of whatever her parents were signing. But
that sounds very similar to the podcast you were on, Geoff, where you spend a significant amount of time on a
half-second shot of complaint filed in the International Court of Justice.
The International Court of Justice against what, the devil or something?
Yep.
Yeah. Not nearly as good here, but still entertaining.
The last thing I wanted to touch on, since I brought up the Macaulay Culkin situation, California does have pretty detailed statutes, in part because of situations like they had with Macaulay Culkin, also Gary Coleman, a bunch of child actors who have been taken advantage of financially by their parents. Interestingly, in Arizona, the minor has to be only 14 years of age. So in California, she could have been emancipated, but not in Arizona. I thought that was interesting. And they also specify that the source of the minor's income is not derived from any activity declared to be a crime. So that's good. They can't emancipate themselves because I guess they're like drug dealing is supporting them.
Geoff, it's yours. Who do you want to go first?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and go first. It's an easy one. I love this show. It ran from 2017 to 2020 or 2016 to 2020, I believe. And I think I've probably watched it all the way through 3 times since then. So a yes for me on entertainment. The law, on the issue I was focusing on specifically, it does get it wrong in as much as she is not old enough to be emancipated. It doesn't get that one particular thing right. And the rest is another instance of everything that we've talked about is acknowledged to be bad. And I think even in later seasons of the show, and this may come up in a later episode, the supplement company that she works for is investigated, kind of folds, and then pops up again under a different name with the same Wallace is once again the sales manager, but they sell something else now. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is.
Which is a thing that actually happens. That is
sure. Yeah, and that's the point. That is the thing that actually happens. So
there have been people convicted of selling literal bleach who have then popped up and sold bleach again.
Yeah.
So I'm inclined to give this a yes, because other than the fact that she's 2 years too young, everything's pretty accurate to real life. When we're discussing real life parts of the show.
I enjoy the show. I think it's good. On the note of spoilers, I think I actually knew the spoiler for season 1 before I started watching it.
Okay.
I think I saw a clip or something. Didn't ruin it for me. Still enjoyed it. I made my fiance watch it, and it was kind of a struggle to get her to get all the way through it, but she enjoyed it at the end. So that's like, maybe knowing that there's a cool twist is worth it. She finds some of the characters really annoying, which I can understand.
I mean, some of them are meant to be. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the point. As far as the law, it's just window dressing in the show. It's never the focus. It's just sort of characters being ridiculous, and then the law happens. We could have done a whole bit about like sort of the, more philosophical nature of the law, where you're being judged by all of your actions forever, but you can't ever confront them or challenge it or debate it.
That's true. Could be an interesting sidebar.
I like the show, so I'll give it a positive for liking it. Did it get the law right? There's not like a ton for it to get right. Like I don't know. Pillboi never gets charged with felony murder, so I'm going to say no.
All right.
That's the standard that I'm using.
All right. So it's a clean sweep on the entertainment. I love The Good Place, and I've loved it every time I've watched it, even when I know exactly where it's going. So no problem on that. I'm trying to remember the first time I watched it, if I had any inclination there was going to be the big twist at the end of season 1. And as I recall, I believe Julie and I watched it together. And I believe I said something to her like, this seems weird. Like at one point, like maybe episodes like, 10, 11, 12, where I'm like, something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but something's wrong. So you know that there's something coming, but you don't know what it actually is. When you watch it again, you're like, you know what's coming, but you're also like, how did we not see this?
Sure.
There are big twists. It is one of those shows that sort of plants the seeds immediately, where like the show opens with her, not opens, but like very quickly, we get the twist of like, oh, I'm not the Eleanor Shellstrop. I'm the wrong Eleanor.
Right. We get Jason's reveal pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The show does not fall into the trap of, Eleanor will spend the entire first season keeping it a secret that she's not supposed to be there. But
Yeah.
she reveals it to everyone halfway through season 1. I came to the show having already known how season 1 ended. A girlfriend of mine that I was seeing at the time, I'm trying to avoid. So for reasons Derrick understands, I'm trying to avoid telling my ex story. But my ex was watching the show, and I think it was the last episode of season 1. And I happened to walk through the room, and she explained,
this is the bad place.
She explained the twist to me. And I had been aware of the show, but was like, well, this can't, I mean, how do you get a TV show out of this? And it turns out they did really good job.
Yeah, for whatever's worth, and I'm going to spoil a bit of season 2. I thought season 2 was going to be, I don't know how they're going to have a whole season about them discovering this all over again, and they did something different.
They did.
Which was arguably much funnier.
So short version, very entertaining. So we sweep that. It sounds like we're one good, one bad on the law. So let me see if I can figure out if I can break the tie. On the 5 things we discussed, at least not we don't actually see the sort of final version of what happens with the supplement, medicine place. We know eventually in later seasons they get, caught, but that's not to say that there isn't the possibility that the CEO and president are indicted or anything like that, or that the former company wasn't indicted.
Sure.
It is correct that Jason should only be, would be breach of contract. It wouldn't be impersonation or criminal statute for the impersonation of Acid Cat. I could see Dress Bitch going the exact way it went, which is, if she has a overzealous mother who's willing to sue whatever, yeah, crappy lawsuits are going to put people out of jobs.
Yeah. I mean, the dry cleaner could have won the lawsuit, but the process of defending it could have been so expensive that they had to fold anyway.
Correct. That is quite possible. And even if they end up winning in everything else, Jason and Pillboi with the Mexican restaurant, yeah, there probably should be a felony murder conviction, but honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if the police came in, saw him dead in the safe, and went, all right, case closed.
Yeah.
I don't think the Mexican restaurant probably has, they probably don't have security cameras. So I could see Pillboi getting away with it. And like the only thing they clearly screw up is the emancipation, and yet I still see where they're going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on Geoff's side. I'm gonna say they actually got it right, especially in comparison to some of the shit we've seen on this podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
They do a much better job. And again, we're ignoring the fact that we don't talk about the legal ramifications of good place, bad place, and other shit like that.
Right. And in a show where there is explicitly a judge of the entire universe. So,
spoiler alert.
Well, the one that plays the judge in season 1, he's faking it. He's not actually the judge.
Yes, he's not actually.
There's a later judge.
Spoiler alert.
The Fantastic Maya Rudolph, yes.
Yeah. Short version, if you have not watched past season 1, for God's sakes, watch past season 1.
Also, just love Ted Danson. I'll watch anything he's in pretty much.
Ted Danson is a phenomenal actor. I will say I think it is very well. They did a very good job on picking who was going to play each character.
Oh, yeah.
I occasionally read things of like who could have played characters or who would have played a better character. I think they crushed the characters, to be perfectly honest. I have a hard time imagining other characters playing those characters.
Yeah.
It is funny seeing, because some of these actors appeared, like, what's the show? No One Wants This or whatever. It's a show that's on right now with
Kristen Bell and I don't know his name.
The guy from the OC.
Adam Brody.
Whatever.
Never seen.
There we go. But also Janet, I cannot remember her name is in it. She's just a random bit character in it.
Oh, interesting.
Darcy Carden. Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
I
it's
funny when, by the way, she's phenomenal in the Good Place.
To the point that it's hard for me to see her as anything else.
Like, I've always said this, you're a phenomenal character if I can't see you as anything else when I watch something else, because it means that you're just so good at that character. I can't get out of it. And I think, in my opinion, like, to be honest, I love Ted Danson so much in Cheers. When he first comes into anything else, I have a hard time getting out of the sort of Cheers mentality.
Sam okay. Yeah.
Have
you ever watched Bored to Death?
No.
I've never heard of Bored to Death.
It's a detective show with him and Jason Schwartzman. It's like peak hipster, like Brooklyn hipster.
Interesting.
Maybe we'll do that at some point. It was only on for like 3 seasons. It's them and Zach Galifianakis.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. This show was like really pushing 2013 vibes.
Interesting.
You just reminded me of a show called Terriers that I think only ran for 1 season.
You mentioned that on the last. God, I was just listening to.
Really?
You mentioned it on the Glass Onion episode. I was just listening to the edits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Han and I were both like terriers, like about dogs.
Nope. Donald Logue plays a PI. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a hard time because, again, Ted Danson played Sam Malone for so long, right?
Sure.
I have just a hard time getting that out of my head. And I mean, because he played, I'm just looking it up, 269 episodes of Sam Malone.
It is weird watching TV now, watching TV in an era where, like, wow, they made 6 episodes this season. And then you're like, Cheers, 25 episodes.
It is phenomenal, right? When you're like a good example is like Ted Lasso, which was like 10 a season, give or take.
Yeah.
It feels like it's 100 episodes. It's only like 30.
Yeah.
You know? And in some of the episodes, not everyone even appears. So like, it's really interesting how Cheers was 82 to 93, 269 episodes.
Yep.
Like that's bonkers.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So the short version is I'm going to say yes on the law, but let's just say barely, because there isn't much. There isn't much there, to be honest.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, Geoff wanted to talk about emancipation, which is funny. That's the one thing it didn't get right.
Yeah, I mean, it came really close, and that's why I'm giving it a yes. Yeah, I can see what's interesting. Well, I mentioned, I practice in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and there's no like set standard. In Pennsylvania, the courts have said there are varying circumstances which we must consider in determining whether a child is emancipated. These include, but are not limited to, the child's age, marital status, ability to support himself or herself, and the desire to live independently of his or her parents. In Pennsylvania, I think she would have been emancipated. She's supporting herself. Whether she's 14 or 16 doesn't really matter as long as she can care for herself, and it seems like she could, and her more so than her parents. So, yeah, and New Jersey's is much the same. Not identical. States vary on family law stuff pretty wildly, like I said. But I thought I'd mention in a number of states she absolutely could have been emancipated.
Good times, guys.
This was fun.
This was fun.
The Not So Grand Jury is sponsored by Morwa PLLC.
The opinions expressed in the Not So Grand Jury are those of the hosts themselves and not of their respective employers.
The theme music for the Not So Grand Jury is from Gustav Holst's Jupiter and is in the public domain.
If you'd like to get in touch with us, if you want to suggest future movies, or even if you want to offer corrections, you can email us at notsograndjury@gmail.com or message us on any of our social media accounts.
The Not So Grand Jury is copyright 2025, all rights reserved.